some crazy picks, a lot of trades. I know this is a little late if you haven't already realized, but I wanted to make sure I could really just like get it all in my head. It's day 3. The draft is over by now. But please like and subscribe. Let's get right into it. First CNF game was announced. Whole first round grades. Let's get right into it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Fun NFL. We got every grade for the first round. Please like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy. First pick of the first round, if you didn't know, Travon Walker. He went to the Jacksonville Jaguars at number 1. Of course, this is a big move for them. They were going to take a pass rusher. It was either him or Aidan Hutchinson. Of course, Aidan Hutchinson is, in my opinion, a better prospect. Travon Walker does fill that D-end role, per se. He probably will play defensive end. That's what they told us he would play. He's focused to play defensive end, be that edge guy they need with Josh Allen, which is really good for them. But then we look at Travon Walker. He had 6 sacks, 7.5 for a loss, 33 total. He was not consistent at all because he wasn't playing a lot of positions. He didn't play a ton of snaps either. Keeping that in mind, though, he wasn't very consistent. Yeah, we do know he's insane measurables. He is very, 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 very athletic. So, he goes number 1 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's get right to his grade. Okay, for the Jags, if you didn't know, I do think they probably should have took Aidan Hutchinson here. But I can't absolutely blame them, so I will give them a B-. I don't hate the pick at all. They were going to pick, at the least, they picked an edge rusher. That's why I gave him a B-. But I do think they could have got someone better there, Aidan Hutchinson, obviously, just for the fact that he had better production, and the fact that I do think he is more consistent as a player on film. But Travon Walker, he's got all the measurables. He's going to be a really good player. That was their pick. Now let's go to the Lions. And obviously, for the number 2 pick, the Lions took Aidan Hutchinson from Michigan, defensive end. This is basically a home run for them. They were going to take him anyway, but he'll be their right defensive end, basically. He'll be like their guy off the edge. Where is Romeo Okoro? Yeah, Romeo Okoro probably go off the edge too instead of Charles Harris. Julian Okoro is also a pretty good playmaker, like 5 sacks, 18 tackles, in only not the full season. I'll put it that way. But yeah, Aidan Hutchinson doesn't fill up a big void. Look at his stats: 14 sacks, 16.5 for a loss, 60 tackles, almost the highest in the season. He's a really good prospect. This was a home run pick for them. I'll just be honest with you. Okay, for Aidan Hutchinson, A+. That was a home run pick for them. If he fell, I would have went crazy if they didn't pick him, but they did pick him, and they got the guy they really wanted. They knew the Lions wanted him from the very beginning. They got him. Home run pick for them. Now let's go on to the next pick. Okay, now for the third pick, obviously Derrick Stingley Jr. went number 3 to the Texans. A very unique pick. I'll put it that way. I don't think it was a bad pick, considering they did need corner pretty bad. He'll be their shutdown guy. Doesn't make any course their slot with Lonnie Johnson. I don't even know. Jalen Peachy, they also drafted, if you didn't know, Mr. Irrelevant was Brock Purdy. Quarterback for Iowa State, if you didn't know him. But Jalen Peachy will be there in the box guy. He's not great covering, but he is better than Terrence Brooks. Eric Murray, of course, is there probably in the best state right now for them. And if you want to know why didn't they take an edge, I mean, Jonathan Grenard, 8 sacks last year, tells you something. And then Obanaya Okoronkwo is also there. And Blake Cashman is not the worst there at their playmaking spot. And Kingsley Keke, solid run defender. Really solid run defender. And Roy Lopez, he's a beast. Malik Collins, also pretty good. This team's line is not terrible. Like, Jonathan Grenard, I'd give him a B. Malik Collins, I'd give him a B. Roy Lopez, I'd give him a B+. Kingsley Keke, I'd give him like a C. So, it's pretty good. And then they got some good depth there, too. Ross Blacklock. Yeah, I get Ross Blacklock isn't the greatest guy. He doesn't really have the greatest motor. But the guy is really athletic. You got to give him that. And, of course, Derrick Rivers is the last guy there who's whatever. But, yeah, I do think this was a good pick for them. They did need corner, but they could have got better guys on the board, obviously. They did get Kenyon Green, though. You got to remember, Kenyon Green is a beast at that guard spot. He could even can play tackle. This is not a terrible line. Charlie Heck, not the greatest. Justin Brett, I'll show you his PFF. It's nothing special, but it's also not too bad. I don't hate Justin Brett at all. Charlie Heck's going to be their one issue, but I still think they can definitely get better. Solid pick for the Texans. If you didn't know, he had 6 interceptions back in 2019. That was when people thought he could be a top 5 pick. He obviously was. High pick here. Let's get to the next one. And, of course, the grade. So, here for these Texans, they get one of the guy, obviously. Ahmad Gardner, I think, is a better prospect. Derrick Stingley probably has more potential. And they could have went with an offensive tackle, honestly. I'm getting Neal. Of course, they didn't get him. But I'll give them a C+ for this bit. Honestly, I think it was a little high. That's why I'm giving them a C+. But it wasn't like they took Cole Strange with this pick. It wasn't an absolutely atrocious pick. I just think they had a lot more better guys on the board. It was a position of need, though, so I got to give them that. But I also think they could have just got better players. Derrick Stingley, I'm not saying this is a bad pick by any means. This is just the fact of the context of the situation. Ahmad Gardner, for all means, is a better prospect. Derrick Stingley has more potential. I get the point of the pick, but I just think they had better guys on the board. That's really the only reason why. Derrick Stingley's a player. I think he's going to work out really well. He's going to be a really good prospect. Really good player. He could even, for all I know, he has potential to be the best corner in the league. I just think they had better guys on the board for them. That's the only reason these are getting a C+. No, why isn't an A, a B then? It's close to a B. I just think, like I said, there's better guys on the board, and Derrick Stingley has some injury issues, and he has some issues on the field as well, obviously. But he is the number 3 pick, and there's a reason for that. That's why he's not getting an F for this pick. And obviously, he's a really good prospect. 4th pick in the NFL draft was Ahmad Gardner, Sauce Gardner, cornerback, Cincinnati, the American, yeah, basically. He recorded 3 interceptions, and he only gave up, 40 receiving yards, something crazy like that. This dude's an elite shutdown corner. Everyone had a feeling he was going to fall to the Jets, and they were going to take him. This is just a simple, we needed a corner, we were going to take one. Love the pick for them, great pick for them. And I'll be honest with you, the Jets really did improve in this draft. Great for them. But yeah, Ahmad Gardner to the Jets, number 4, great pick. Okay, for Ahmad Gardner, I'm going to give this pick, obviously, an A+. Do I even need to say anything else? They got the guy they wanted. He's better than Derrick Stingley as a prospect, in my opinion. They basically kind of got a steal in a way, but they still got the guy they needed. Great pick, Jets. Okay, 5th pick, the Giants took Kayvon Thibodeaux. Kayvon Thibodeaux obviously has some questions. It's kind of their risk-reward pick. I am actually really for it, honestly. I think he will be a really good player, obviously, but still. Kayvon Thibodeaux has a lot to do to become a better player. They do have guys behind him, at least. O'Shane Ximines, I do think, is a little bit, Micah McFadden was picked there, too. O'Shane Ximines is obviously not going to start. He's terrible. But Quincy Roche and Azeez Ojulari are also not the worst players in the world. I didn't think they should take him, but they did, which isn't bad by any means, but at all. Kayvon Thibodeaux, we look at his stats last year: 7 sacks, 12 for a loss. Only played in 10 games. I wouldn't say he was exactly in it the whole time, but when he did play, though, he was pretty darn good. Kayvon Thibodeaux is a beast, I will admit. He's got a lot of good stuff going for him. We need to see if he wants to play football. That's basically it. But I think it was a big risk-reward pick. For the Kayvon Thibodeaux pick, I'll give him a B, and here's why. I said, it's a big risk-reward pick. I can't give him an A+. But Kayvon Thibodeaux, I gotta admit, they wanted a guy who has a lot of talent, has a really good first step, which is something they've been lacking, that pass rush. Really good pick for them, going alongside like guys like Quincy Roche and Azeez Ojulari and Leonard Williams. I think Quincy Roche should go on the inside. We even came on Thibodeaux could if he needed to. They got their edge guy, big for them. See if he can be really good. But yeah, he is a big high risk, high reward. That's why he gets a B. The risk is there. That's why I have to give the B. But I do like their guts to actually make a non-safe pick. Okay, now for the Panthers. They took Ekwonu. Ekwonu, basically, he was taken there at number 6, O tackle, of course, for NC State. He definitely fills that left tackle void they needed. Cam Irving is a terrible player, honestly. He should not be starting. Pat Elflein is not good either. I can show you his PFF to prove it. It's 50.1, if that tells you anything. He's terrible. Other than Pat Elflein, I think this was a really good pick for them. Ekwonu, I think his fact that he can get the length is a little bit of an issue. Being able to stay on guys, playing that type of defense is not great, which is a kind of a problem. But if they can get better at it, I think they're good with it. But Ekwonu, I love the pick. I'll be honest with you. They could have got Evan Neal. That was just their decision, I guess. But Ekwonu to the Panthers. For the Panthers, I gotta give them a B+. Honestly, they knew what they needed. They got it. I just don't know how good he will be at left tackle. That's the problem. I do love him as a prospect. He's such a good run blocker. The only problem is, can he really protect those top the end, right outside linebackers, those edge guys, those right ends? Can he really protect the quarterback for that long? I really don't know yet, so that's why I have to give him a B+. But that's the only question with him. And I'm not talking about actually like blocking him. I'm just saying get your hands on him, because once Ekwonu gets his hands on him, they're just stopped. That's how it works. That's the only thing with Ekwonu. He comes in too hard sometimes and he gets beat because of it, because he doesn't have that agility per se to stop and just get wide. Doesn't have that just yet. That's my only question with him. Now let's go to the 7th pick in the NFL draft. With the 7th pick, the Giants obviously took Evan Neal, offensive tackle, Alabama. We'll get off these Panthers, obviously, and go to the Giants. Evan Neal probably will play right tackle. He'll move over to left tackle. Probably not. But Evan Neal is so good at pass blocking. Not the blind side. His right side is obviously his strength, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion. Evan Neal is just really good at pass blocking. He's just really good at keeping guys in front of him, which is a big thing. And in the run blocking, he's so solid just keeping the guys where he is. He doesn't get pushed back. He even pushes the guys forward. Not as powerful and as a force as like Ekwonu, but he's more technical and a more solid player than Ekwonu, in my opinion. So this is a great pick for the Giants. They got their offensive tackle. Huge for them. What they need now is a guard, which is their one big weakness right now. So let's go right to the ring. Evan Neal, A. Here's why I'm not giving it an A+. I don't think the pick is a home run just for the fact that Evan Neal is not a franchise left tackle. That's the only reason why. He's so solid at keeping guys in front of him and just getting his hands on him quick and not letting him do any stupid moves on him. And he has very good length. I get that A for now, but I haven't seen that extra push yet, which is why I have to give him an A. And yeah, these A pluses because Ahmad, Gardner, and Aidan Hutchinson will be playing in huge forces. Now that Evan Neal won't be, but you might not get the recognition that these guys will if they play at the level they can play at. Now let's go into the 8th pick. Oh, and if you obviously haven't figured out, these are predictions basically. I'll be honest with you. These are like what I think initially of these draft picks. Next year, 2 years from now, they're going to be a lot different because usually that's what happens. If you get them right, good for you, but usually you don't. You got to realize it's a prediction. Not like these are official grades. Either way, and they're fun to do. Yeah, Drake London, he was the 8th pick to the Falcons out of USC. Falcons, of course, getting their #1 receiver. Here's your one problem. Kadarius Hodge is not he's a solid 5th, 6th guy. Demir Bird, whatever, Omezikis is only good deep. They need another receiver. I'll be honest with you. They need at least one more receiver. Just one. Yeah, you got Kyle Pitts and Lee Ferguson. You're probably going to have to run with two tight ends. Even maybe 2 running backs at times. But they need another receiver. I'll just be honest with you on that one. But if they can get another receiver, things are good. But yeah, Drake London, 88 for 1,087 yards, 7 touchdowns, 12.3 average. So like I said, he's not the most technical player ever. He's not going to have like the craziest grade, obviously, like I said, like if you remember me grading. But he's so physical, and he's going to be so good for Mariota, who is not the most accurate quarterback and does not place the ball at a high level, which is a little bit of an issue, but also the fact that Drake London will go up and get it anyway. Okay. Drake London, B-. I like the pick, but I don't like the pick at the same time. I don't think this was a bad pick. I really don't. Yeah, I think Garrett Wilson is a better receiver, probably can get more open. But Drake London is a physical receiver, and he's fast too. I think he's more valuable for a lot of teams who don't have those superstar quarterbacks like up here. The best team, I think, if Minnesota would be a team that would really feel well with Drake London. Even, like, Carson Wentz and the Eagles, because he really likes to throw it up to him. But Mariota by no means is a bad quarterback. But I think they could have got Garrett Wilson. That would have been a better pick for them. But I still do think Drake London was a good pick for them. He's not the best, but I do think this was a good pick. Could it be a home run? Absolutely. Could it be an absolute bonfire? I really don't know. But yeah, B- for now. I don't love the pick, just for the fact that they could have got a guy who's probably better. But he's definitely not a bad. It was not a bad pick. Could have went a lot worse. Even though they did need edge. And yeah, you could moan and groan about Jermaine Johnson going way down instead of them taking him up here, because Kayvon, Thibodeaux, and Aidan and Travon Walker, the big 3, already went. But I don't think this was a bad pick by any means. With the 9th pick, the Seattle Seahawks took Charles Cross. Obviously, they needed a tackle. Best guy on the board. They needed a pass blocker, obviously. But I still don't think this is a bad pick at all. Where's Kenneth Walker? Kenneth Walker, honestly, probably could be their starter. No offense to Chris Carson, but I think he could be a better player than him. No joke. He definitely wouldn't get injured, and he definitely would be more efficient. If you didn't know, Kenneth Walker was their 2nd-round pick. Along with, who is it? Boyo Mafe. If he's not in here yet. Yeah, there's Boyo Mafe. I just don't know where Kenneth Walker is. Either way, though, they got a left tackle. They needed that with, who is it? Dwayne Brown leaving and being a free agent that they would not sign, because how old is he? Dwayne Brown is 36. I wonder what his PFF is. Yeah, I know I'm getting a little bit off topic, but I am pretty interested. 71.5, so not the worst. But yeah, Charles Cross, French's left tackle. His run blocking needs to get better, but he does have Damian Lewis next to him. If you didn't know anything about Damian Lewis, he can sure attack run block. He's terrible in pass protection, though. Gabe Jackson's always been solid, though. And Kyle Fuller. See what he can do at center along with Austin Blythe. But yeah, Charles Cross, French's left tackle, can pass block. Probably better than Ikem Ekwonu. Not maybe better than Neal. He's definitely got to work on his run blocking, though. So yeah, I don't hate the pick, though. Okay, now for Charles Cross being picked by the Seahawks. B. Here's why it's not an A+. I think if somehow Ikem Ekwonu or Neal fell, I think that would have been a better pick for them. Also, I know this is probably the best guy they could have got. It wouldn't have been a bad pick to pick Jermaine Johnson. Yeah, it would have been a little bit unique. But I also don't think it would have been a bad pick there, considering they really did need an edge rusher as well. So I like Charles Cross a lot, and I don't think he will be that great. love the fit. They did need it really badly. I know I can't give it an A+ though, because Charles Cross, it's kind of like they were kind of forced into taking him, even though I like the pick. Okay, now for Garrett Wilson, who was the 10th pick for the Jets. This was another home run for the Jets. They got the 2 guys they really wanted, 2 out of the 3. But Garrett Wilson will be their number 1 receiver, top 10th pick. Of course, best receiver in my opinion in the draft. He doesn't have the most talent. I think Christian Watson, the 2nd round pick, does. He's definitely not the most raw. He's really smooth though. His routes are just like the way he plays is so fluent. It's really nice to watch. But Garrett Wilson, 70 for 1,058 and 12 touchdowns last year. Really solid numbers when you really think about it. But he definitely has stuff to improve on. Definitely at the line and definitely more physical type of stuff. But he is not their jump ball receiver. Corey Davis, I think, will be because he's had some good contested catches. Elijah Moore is another smooth receiver, but he also can do other stuff too that Garrett Wilson can't do. But Garrett Wilson's the absolutely the best receiver in this room. Great pick for the Jets. I love it. Now for the Jets at number 10, I'm giving him an A. I'm not giving him an A+ because it was not the Ahmad Gardner trade. It wasn't as oh my gosh, this pick, I'd be absolutely stunned if it didn't work out for Ahmad Gardner and Aidan Hutchinson for the Lions. Garrett Wilson will be a good receiver, but I don't think Zach Wilson is a great. Yeah, not yet. It was a great pick for the Jets to fill the need and all that. I love the pick. It's just not. We can't give it an A+. That's basically why. But I am that confident in Aidan Hutchinson working out. I'm not saying right away by any means. Aidan Hutchinson could stink his first year, but Aidan Hutchinson will produce. That's just the truth. He could be on a meme reel, but he will produce. That's basically it. And Ahmad Gardner, I don't know right away shut down, but these 2 guys will work out. I would be absolutely, mind blown if they didn't work out. Derrick Stingley, yeah, he has a ton of potential, but, not maybe as much. Same thing with Drake London and Charles Cross. But Garrett Wilson, I have that small bit of hope. He might not work out in New York. But I do think it was a great pick for both sides. They filled a need. The Jets filled a need, and Garrett Wilson's going to a room where he's got a lot of other good receivers, or a lot of solid other receivers that can do a lot for him, and he can do a lot for the team. Now let's get to the next pick. Okay, first trade of the video. Yup, Chris Olave, number 11 to the Saints. They traded this from Washington. I wouldn't say they swapped. They traded some other picks. Washington at 16. But for the Saints, they filled that huge need they had for Chris Olave. He's their number 2 receiver. Michael Thomas, hopefully, is back and ready to go. Chris Olave does not need to be the deep threat. He can be that Z receiver with Michael Thomas. It's so physical at the line. Great possession guy. Marcus Kelly, the deep threat. Tre'Quan Smith, the red zone guy. And Deontay Harris, also another deep threat. And little Jordan Humphrey, I guess, can go out there too. But they have 4 solid receivers now. Deontay Harris, I'm still calling him Deontay Harris, can also be the deep threat. But they have 4 legit receivers now. That's really big. Great pick for them. Here's my one problem with him, though. Chris Olave will struggle when he plays press. He's going to be really good in the red zone. 13 touchdowns, of course, at Ohio State last year. On 936 yards and 65 catches. I do love him, except love him, but I think there's a couple things he needs to get better at. And that does start off with the fact that he needs to be more physical. He needs to I wouldn't say his release is bad, but his route running isn't that crisp, and he doesn't have the best of hands. He's not as smooth either. I don't like his routes aren't crisp enough. That's another thing, but yeah, Chris Olave, a great pick. Okay, for the Saints, they did trade up. I get that. If you keep that in mind, and the fact that Chris Olave isn't superstar level because he is not good on the line. Because the fact it's not his release. He has a good release. It's his physicality, number 1. Number 2, his routes aren't smooth enough to get off the line and beat a corner. And number 3, he's not the greatest jump ball guy, and he stinks at run blocking. Keeping those in mind, Chris Olave, I'm going to give him a B-. I don't think they needed to trade up. Really, I don't think they needed to. Because they would have, they wanted this guy as their guy, which was definitely their guy. But at the worst, they're getting Jahan Dotson. Really. That's at the worst. So that's why I give him a B-. I think it was a little forced, but Chris Olave to the Saints. They got the receiver. That's all that really matters. Next pick. Now we go to Chris Olave. Speed, obviously can't deny. It's not as good as Garrett Wilson, but I'll go 3.75. They're neck and neck. If they did a race, they'd be like basically a foot, probably like a millisecond it would go by for Garrett Wilson. They're neck and neck with speed. He's a fast guy. Short route running, I think this is, I wouldn't say this is a good trade. I'll give him an average. He struggles with the short route stuff. I wouldn't say he's bad at it, but he's gotten better, but he was really bad at it last year. Medium, this is his best trait probably. 3.6. Oh no, maybe not his best. He's definitely the best at route running the medium stuff, especially in the red zone. That's his thing. Medium routes in the red zone. That's what he does. Deep route running. So he's really regressed with this because he hasn't really run a ton of it. Last year he was really good. I'm gonna give him 3.3 because when he did run it, didn't really seem like he got it. Route running, not on averages. I'll give him a 3.4. He's not the best. He's definitely not the best route runner in the world, but he's really good. Spatial awareness. This is why I love him. I'll give him a 3.9. He's really good with this. Like, spatial awareness is his best thing. Catching. It's not great. 2.7. It's not good. It's not great. He drops some passes and it's pretty painful, but overall, I don't think his catching is good. It's definitely below average. He's going to have to get better at it, but that's something I can fix. Rack yardage. Not good with this either. 2.6. It's rare to see him just go after the catch. I don't see a ton of that. He could definitely get better at it. He's not the type of guy that's going to pick you up a first down on a screen pass, but who knows? Maybe he will in the future. Agility. It's like a 3.2. He's not the quickest guy. It's not as bad as change of direction, but I wouldn't see as bad agility. This is like literally the definition of average. Maybe a little less, I'd say, but definitely change of direction is good. Isn't good, but whatever. Physicality, 3.4. I'm not talking about like this is the red zone physicality. He's not the greatest jump ball receiver, but you shove him off the line, it's not gonna do anything. Like he's a strong guy. He'll make his hold his own. Like I said, he's not going to get you the first downs like you want, but if you need him to, he will. He's a 3.2, about average. Release. This is a little harder to grade because he sees a lot of off releases in zones, but when he does get a good pressed man, we don't really see a ton from that, so I'm going to give him a 3, but I've seen enough from him. And of course, his pro grade is comparison is Marvin Jones Jr. I think that is a really good comparison due to the fact they score a lot of touchdowns. And yeah, what about the red zone? Woo! That goes into like basically all this, and yeah, don't worry, I will consider that. So you see their averages. If I think a receiver is better than another receiver, even though their rating is worse, I'll put him ahead of him. That I can overrule that. But yeah, don't worry. Your red zone does really go into it. Yeah, keeping this all in mind, the fleecing of the Vikings. I cannot give this pick an A range yet. Here's why. Jameson Williams still has potential to be an absolute bust. You got to remember that. He's coming off, he needs to be fine coming off the torn ACL. We still don't know that. I'm not willing to take that risk yet. That's why I'm giving him a B+. I could be a little downplaying it, but Jameson Williams to the Lions, number 12. They fleeced the Vikings. This is a great trade for them. But it's still Jameson Williams. There's still a little bit of risk. You got to keep that all in mind. Now let's get to the 13th pick. The third straight trade, the Eagles trading up 2 spots for Jordan Davis. Not surprised by this, actually. But they traded number 6, what was it, 15, I think? Yeah, number 15 to the Texans. But still, I guess, Jordan, why am I still on the Texans? Why? Just like, why? Either way, Eagles just strengthen their D-line even more. Fletcher Cox and Jordan Davis will be an absolute hard guys to stop. Javon Hargrave, he should be on another team. He's a starter. Derrick Barnett, Josh Sweat's a better pass rusher. Brandon Graham's taking goal. Josh Sweat will go over there. Of course, they drafted their Kobe Dean. I cannot believe this dude fell. He should be a first-round pick, but he wasn't. He was like what was he, 5th round? 3rd round, never mind. He fell so much, though. That was crazy. Right, yeah. Because T.J. Edwards, of course, is a middle linebacker as well. TJ Edwards is okay. I'll give him that. Kaiser White, though, and Hassan Reddick for another pass rusher. Jordan Davis really just strengthened this pass rush. He had 2 sacks on 32 tackles and 5 for loss. He's a beast up the middle. He's got really good athleticism as well. Let's get right to the rating. Okay, now for the Eagles. This is, honestly, I'll give this an A. Just for the fact that they have Fletcher Cox on a cheap deal and the fact that they also have Jordan Davis in there, I think it's going to be really good for him. I don't see how he would have to do something really crazy. Like, it would have to be something really bad, an injury or something, for this not to work out. The Eagles really got a good trade with them. They got a guy, this is why I'm giving him an A, that will succeed Fletcher Cox. Not only that, but he can develop it. It's not like he's forced into the role right away. You got 2 guys behind him, Milton, whatever the heck his name is, and Javon Hargrave, that are very capable starters. So he doesn't have to get forced into it. Even if he is good enough to start, he's got relaxed in Philly. That's the good thing about Jordan Davis. He doesn't have to be great right away. That's what I love about this trade. That's why I'm giving it an A. It's not an A+. It's not an absolute home run. But, like I said, it's going to be, I'd be shocked if this didn't work. It's not this. It's not that. But it's still a really good pick. With the 14th pick, the Ravens caught a falling Kyle Hamilton at number 14, safety Notre Dame. Of course, his explosiveness is a little bit of an issue. It's a little bit overreactionary, though, when you think about it, though. He will probably take Chuck Clark's spot. You got Marcus Williams, though, roaming the deep part of the field, which is really good for them because he can literally play his position. That's covering the guys in the slot, covering the running backs, even going out at receivers sometimes, covering those guys. And he could be that second to 2 high safety. Not that first high, but that second guy. That second guy, that 2 high safeties, he's really good with that. He can actually play his position now. And he has the potential to be one of the best safeties in the NFL. Marcus Williams will have his back, which is huge. Even if he gets hurt, you have Brandon Stevens and Chuck Clark to back him up. Big, really good pick for them. Even, like, worst case, put Tony Jefferson in. But, great pick for this Ravens. This is a steal. I can't give it an A+, but it's a steal. Okay, now for Kyle Hamilton, A-. He still has the potential of being a bust, obviously, considering he has that slow 40. And he doesn't really seem to have that, what is it called? It's not the playmaking, it's the physicality and like the he doesn't have that he doesn't have a position per se, which is a little bit of a hard for me to evaluate. That's why he gets an A-. I do think it's a steal though, so that's why he gets there too. Now let's go to the 15th. With the 15th pick, the Texans took Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M. Of course, he is the best guard in this draft. To some people's eyes, I do think Zion Johnson's better, though. So this is a little bit of a reach. You got to keep that in mind. And he played a lot of tackle as well, so he's going to be a little bit inexperienced. But you do have Titus Howard playing inside as well. Probably will have to go out to tackle, though, with Laramie Tunsil also there. But I do think Kenyon Green's a really solid player. He's really, really just a tank with the run blocking. The only problem is he doesn't exactly have elite pass blocking. Inside, he doesn't have to worry as much, but he still is going to have to go against guys like Aaron Donald. Not Aaron Donald, my bad. But DeForest Buckner, though. Keeping that in mind. Let's see if he can deal with those type of guys. I don't know if he can just yet, but I don't think this is a bad pick at all. Okay, for Kenyon Green, this is a little tougher to do since I do think it is a reach. I'll go C-. He could definitely work out, but I don't think he will be as good as some people, Texans fans, will say. Like, why isn't this guy that great? It's just because that he's not going to be a superstar pass blocker. He's going to give up some sacks. You're going to be mad. But he will plow on that lane and that a 4th and goal. I'll be honest with you. Now let's go on to the 16th pick. With the 16th pick from the trade back of Washington, they took Jahan Dotson with the 16th pick. I think he should not have gone this high, I'll be honest with you. But they needed a receiver, and they took one. But now they got Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, Terry McLaurin, Diami Brown, not a bad 4th one. Cam Sims, he's good for a couple of big plays. Terry McLaurin's an elite receiver, obviously top 10 even, maybe. Curtis Samuel, great number 2, he can run the football too. Jahan Dotson is your 3rd down guy. 91 catches for 1,182 yards, 12 touchdowns. Very productive, 13 yards per catch, which is good to see too. But I don't think Jahan Dotson will be very impressive this year, I'll be honest with you. He's going to make a lot of their third down plays. He's going to make a lot of their catches in the red zone. Not at the goal line, obviously. That's going to be Terry McLaurin. But he is a good player. You got to keep that in mind. He has the room to improve. He's very underrated. But I do think in a draft where receivers aren't so valuable and like they needed to be picked, he probably would have gotten 30. His value, in my opinion, is like 30th. But he got picked at 16, keeping that in mind. So this is a little bit of reach, but he was the best guy on the board, other than Treylon Burks. Keeping that in mind, though, I'm going to give it a C+, because I do think this will be a sneaky pick. He will be like that. I wouldn't say Adam Humphries-esque, but he'll make a lot of catches this year, a lot. The yards won't be that impressive. The touchdowns won't be super impressive. But he will be very productive, and that is really important for him as well. Jahan Dotson, really underrated pick. He was probably the best wide receiver on the board. Don't hate the pick. Let's go to number 17. Okay, for the 17th pick, the Chargers took Zion Johnson out of Boston College. This was honestly kind of a steal, considering 2 picks earlier, a guy who I think isn't as good as him was picked. Zion Johnson's just really solid in both running and passing. He's not going to bowl guys over. He's not going to protect your quarterback for more than 4 seconds. If anything, he's going to throw him back. But here's the thing with Zion Johnson. He gets your hands on him, he really annoys you, and it's really hard to put a finesse move on him, considering you could be quick, but he's quicker. And, of course, he fills that guard position that they really do need. Matt Filer's solid. Storm Norton, not so much, but it could be worse. Trey Pipkins, if you need to, goes over there. Justin Herbert will be aware of that. Rashawn Slater's really solid, though. But yeah, you got Corey Linsley alongside Zion Johnson, which is really good for him. If you ignore the right tackle for now, Storm Norton was below average, was not good at all in pass protection. Zion Johnson's got Corey Linsley next to him. He's probably the best center in the NFL, other than obviously Jason Kelce. Keeping that in mind, though, I think this is a good place. I don't like the Storm Norton right there, but it was kind of a steal. Good pick for the Chargers. They filled the need. Okay, for the Zion Johnson pick for the Chargers, I do think it's a good pick, but I just don't think they needed to take a tackle, really, in my opinion. Trevor Penning, yeah, it would have been a little more of a reach, but still, I really do think in my full honest heart, they needed to take a tackle, because guards are not, it's really about the tackle. Elgin Jenkins, he can play tackle now, but he's not great. He's really good. It's partly because he has David Bakhtiari right next to him. He doesn't have to worry about getting burned because of his tackle and the double teams and all that. But he does have a really good center, which is really important. But the only way I do like Elgin Jenkins and Zion Johnson, really good comparison. But I do think it's gonna be a Cesar Ruiz situation a little bit, where Cesar Ruiz had Eric McCoy and who was it? Teron Armstead. When Teron Armstead was out, Cesar Ruiz stunk. He was not good. But when he was in, you could definitely see the big difference. But with Zion Johnson, I hope that isn't the case. I have to give it a C+ right now. It was a steal. I don't love the situation for Zion Johnson. That's the only way he's here. I don't know if it's going to work out really well. I'm going to say he's going to be solid, but I'm not super sure. I'm just a little skeptical about this pick. It's not a bad pick at all. It's just the fact that I'm a little skeptical about it. I'm not, all in. Okay, now for Treylon Burks. Yeah, he was the 18th pick, and if you didn't know, A.J. Brown trade. That happened. So I'll just go. A.J. Brown to the Eagles. They signed him to a 4-year, $100 million extension for $57 million guaranteed. That is some big deal for the Eagles, but the Titans, they chose money over talent. I'll put it that way. They don't want to pay A.J. Brown that much. You can get as frustrated as you want, but I do think Treylon Burks is going to work out. Prove me right, Treylon. He's their number 2. You still got Robert Woods. That's the track he's going to have to work out. They don't really have much, to be honest with you. I think Derrick Henry, if they're going to have any chance at winning the AFC this year, Derrick Henry is going to have 330 carries. He can't get hurt. He can't get worn out. And he's going to have to go for over 2,000 yards for another season. And he's got to run for 20 touchdowns and win MVP. Because if Derrick Henry, I'll be honest with you, Treylon Burks is going to be good. He's not going to be great, but I think he'll be good. He'll be far from a bust. People are going to be like, oh, A.J. Brown is me. But Derrick Henry is going to, I think he will come back, win Comeback Player of the Year, win MVP probably, and absolutely tear up the NFL. I'll be honest with you. I don't think Derrick Henry is going to be what some people think, oh, he's the back end of his career. If I'm being honest with you, Derrick Henry is going to come back, and he's going to prove why he's the best running back in the National Football League and potential Hall of Famer. Yeah, if you didn't know, I do think this is not about Treylon Burks for the Titans. This is them saying, yeah, Derrick Henry is going to be our focal point. Derrick Henry is going to be our football team, which isn't a bad thing. I do think Treylon Burks, I have to give it a C, though, because trading A.J. Brown for Treylon Burks at this moment is not great. I'll be honest with you, not great. Treylon Burks, I think, will be a good receiver, though. That's probably why I'll have to put this up. But they're going to say, Derrick Henry's our team. Here's why this is a good move, because, to be honest, there's a chance that they're basically saying, Derrick Henry, you're our team. We trust you, basically. Which is why I don't think this was a terrible move at all. Treylon Burks, though, is there, and I think they're bringing a little bit more of a youth. Who knows? Maybe I think Derrick Henry, though, will come in and be their guy. What you saw the Malik Willis pick, though. They want to bring in more youth, which isn't bad because Malik Willis has a ton of potential. He's not going to start this year by any means because Ryan Tannehill's starting. Treylon Burks will get his reps. That's really good for him, but they're just showing this was a sign that they're going in with new guys. Yeah, this looks a little different. Oh, yeah, because Trevor Penning does not have a page. But Trevor Penning will become a starter in 2 years, according to the PF Next Gen Stats. But yeah, he went number 19 to the Saints. It's a little bit of a reach. I'll be honest with you. I can't just lie. He is not their starter. Trevor Penning will probably play left tackle. But James Hurst will probably start for a little while, which isn't bad. Cesar Ruiz is a disappointment. And, of course, you have Andrew Feet and Eric Thomas and Eric McCoy and Ryan Ramczyk. But Trevor Penning is a little bit of a reach. His hands are not good. He's athletic, though, and he is very, very powerful. You're not going to just be able to beat him with strength. There's 2 guys in the NFL that could probably do that. Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt, actually 3 guys. No, 2 guys. Because, no offense, but T.J. Watt is not the strongest dude in the world. He wins with quickness, speed, and not as much power, but he can use power. I'd call it more surge and explosiveness, because if you're explosive enough, you're going to catch a guy off guard. It's just how it works. That's just simple physics. But that's why I do think Trevor Penning going here is a good pick for them, but it's a little underwhelming. The Trevor Penning pick, I'll be honest with you, I'm giving it a C-. Here's why. I do think they could have done other stuff for it. It's a little bit of a reach, but Trevor Penning was the only guy there for the Saints, so you kind of think like it was kind of a forced pick. I'm not giving them excuses, though. They could have picked other guys that were better than him. Devin Lloyd. But yeah, I don't hate the pick here. It's solid, but it definitely could have been better. Jermaine Johnson. But yeah, now let's go to the next guy. This looks a little familiar. Yeah, Kenny Pickett was the only quarterback taken the first 2 rounds. By the Steelers at number 20. He's their franchise guy. Will he start year 1? No, he shouldn't start year 1. Trubisky, you got the reins. Mitch Trubisky, I'm not mad with this. Kenny Pickett, you're the backup. Of course, in college, 42.7 interceptions, blah, 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 blah. 4,319 yards, 334, 490. I can keep talking. 67.2. On the ground, I mean, 241 yards, 5 touchdowns. He has some mobility. I think Mitchell Trubisky and him, a lot in common, which is really big. But either way, yeah, Kenny Pickett I do like here in Pittsburgh. It's kind of self-explanatory. He's their franchise guy. You could be all through Pittsburgh fans, but there's gonna be a couple of things you got to keep in mind. Number one, really cool is taking a third round, and if he succeeds, which I really do think is a real possibility, and Kenny Pickett isn't a really good quarterback, he's got you got a lot of pressure on this pick. I'll give you a B though, just for the fact that I do think this is a solid pick, because Kenny Pickett can start year 2 without a doubt. Year 1 maybe even. I do think Mitchell Trubisky should start because he has a lot of work to do, especially with his ball placement and not his decision making, more the fact of where he throws the ball at what point in time, which is really important. Of course, he still has his arm strength and all that other stuff, but B is a good pick for him. I don't think it's a home run. I absolutely don't think it's a bad pick either, but I'd say just solid for now. Like, that's kind of how Kenny Pickett fits the mold. Now let's go on to the Chiefs, who made a little bit of a splash. Yeah, we got another trade. Number 21, the Chiefs traded up for Trent McDuffie. And if you didn't know me, I don't think Trent McDuffie's a bad player at all. I really like how he plays very fluently. It's really nice to watch. The Chiefs, he'll be their number 1 corner probably. No joke, because they're pretty thin there. Rashawn Fenton is their slot guy. L'Jarius Sneed, probably their number 1 there too, but they're very thin there. You got to remember that. DeAndre Baker will be out there pretty darn often, which is not, I'm not saying that's a bad problem because he was honestly pretty decent last year. No, I'm joking. DeAndre Baker was terrible. No, that was Mike Hughes, my bad. Mike Hughes was terrible. DeAndre Baker wasn't bad. I'll look up his PFF. Yeah, 60. He was not terrible. I'll put it that way. But yeah, McDuffie didn't have a pick last year, which is a little bit of a ball skill thing. Like I said, I never really liked his ball skills. 35 tackles. He'll be the cover guy though. Like he'll cover guys like Gabe Davis, 6 pass defended. But he's the guy they need to beat those Chiefs teams, to beat those Bills teams, those Ravens teams. He'll knock the ball down on those 4th downs. He'll cover those with number 1 receivers. L'Jarius Sneed can too. But I really do think it's a good pick. There are some perks that come with it, though. They did trade up for him. A little bit of a risk, but I do like the pick. Obviously, Kansas City corners, I just don't think they have the depth yet for him. Like, he might not work out because he'll be out on the field so much, and he'll be against some really good players. You got to keep that in mind, too. He's not going to be the greatest because of it. I don't think this was the greatest pick for him, but they did need a corner. They got the guy they needed. I'll give this one an A-. I think he will work out just because he'll be able to stay with these guys. He probably will get beat a couple times, like on the ball. I just don't think he will be great, but he will be able to cover with the guys. Covering is not the problem. It's when the ball is thrown in the air to him. That's when he needs to show up. Okay, let's get to the next pick. So the Packers, instead of taking a wide receiver, which obviously they got at number 34, they went with Quay Walker, number 22. They could have went with Kobe Dean, which would have made a heck of a more sense, in my opinion, because he fits their defense better. I'll be honest with you. Oh, run defense. I get it. They took Devontae Wyatt for a reason, right? I'm being honest with you. They did not have to take Quay Walker. I think it was a little bit of a force. There were better guys on the board like Devin Lloyd. This is a reach, but I don't hate the pick either. I got to keep that in mind too. Flexible. But 65 total tackles, 5.5 for loss, 1.5 sacks. He played a good amount of snaps. He was really solid for them, really reliable even. This was a good pick. I don't think it was great though. That's my one thing about it. I do think he is not the greatest. He's not going to be the greatest. He's decent in coverage. He makes some plays. I say he's well-rounded. He's not versatile, but he's well-rounded, which is important. But I have to give this pick a C. I'll give him, I think it's average, just for the fact it's a reach. Even though I do like it, in the fact, like, I don't like Quay Walker as a player, I'll be honest with you, but when you look at their needs, like what they thought, I think he'll be good. He won't be great, though. There you go. Now let's get to the next pick, which you'll see my opinion on it. Okay, now for the 23rd pick, the Bills traded up for Kayvon Elam. This was a terrible pick. There's my opinion on it. Kayvon Elam is indecisive. Here's why I don't think he'll be a bad corner. 3 things. Kayvon Elam is indecisive. Number 1, he is an indecisive cornerback. Number 2, he is not good on routes that are not remotely, I don't know how to put it. He doesn't react quick. His reactionary skills, his awareness is not good. And number 3, he freezes up when the ball comes to him. There's my opinion on it. I kind of already talked about it. When the guy catches the ball, he makes the tackle. It's not the tackling part. It's when the ball's on the ground. Like if the guy catches it, that's not the issue. It's not after. It's right when the ball's there, right there. That's when he's awful. He can cover. He's just not decisive. He doesn't have the awareness. That's what I don't like about him. He's got the tools. He's not like, you want just 4-cone shuttle, they're above average. It's just, he doesn't have the awareness. I think it is the awareness. That comes with being indecisive as a person, probably. It's a lot of things. The Bills, he's probably going to have to be your slot guy, no offense, but you don't want to start him against guys. Shereen, Neal, Travon Johnson, they're going to have to step up because I don't think Kayvon Elam is ready just yet. I think it's the awareness and the fact that he's got to be able to make plays on the ball better. That's it, too. It's because he's a little nervous. If he gets better at it, it's good. Here's why I'm not giving it an F. Kayvon Elam, this was a massive reach for the Bills. There you go. That's my opinion on it. But there is a good chance it'll work out, though. I'll give it a D. There's my opinion on it. Kayvon Elam, it's all up here. It's in the head. I think he's a mental block there. If he can't get over that mental block, he'll be an absolute bust. But if he can't get over it, he can be really good. There's my opinion on Kayvon Elam. Let's go to the next pick. With the 24th pick, the Cowboys took Tyler Smith, tackle out of Tulsa. It was a reach. There's just the honest and spot-on pace. They could have took a couple other guys, honestly. It was not wide receiver. It was actually a very important position. Dante Fowler, there's no way he should be starting for them because they could have took George Kalafis or Jermaine Johnson. Jermaine Johnson was the guy Jerry Jones passed up on. Yeah, I know they got Tyler Smith. He'll probably play guard. Terrence Steele, let's look at his PFF. .5. He's okay. Zach Martin's elite. Tyler Biadasz is fine. Tyler Smith, I don't think this is that important. This was not a good pick. There you go. This was a big reach. Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence is not a great pass rush. You saw this defense was different with Randy Gregory. They don't have Randy Gregory anymore. They have Dante freaking Fowler. They needed to pick one of those edge rushers. They didn't, and I think this was just a bad pick. Nothing against Tyler Smith. I think he'll be okay, but this was a reach. This was not an F, but I think it was close to it. I'll give it a D-. It was the fact that they reached. Not that Tyler Smith is a bad player. He'll be solid. He's not going to be great. I'd be shocked if he was a great football. If he's a great start. If he's a great for the Cowboys. But they passed up on edge rushers. They needed the pick. They needed edge rushers. That's my problem with the pick. Number 3. They could have picked another position and it wouldn't have been as bad. They took like Christian Watson. I understand the Christian Watson pick. They even take Andrew Booth Jr. Better pick than Tyler Smith. Okay, now the Ravens took Tyler Linderbaum. He's a center, which is a little bit high for a center, but he's going to be really, really good. I don't think this is a home run pick by any means. I think this is a really solid pick. He probably would have gone early second round. There's a lot of teams that need a center right now. I think it's a solid pick. Obviously, the Ravens took him at 25. If you haven't already noticed, Iowa. And yeah, if I haven't already told you, they traded Marquise Brown. They got rid of him, which isn't a bad thing. They got a first round pick. Ended up being Tyler Linderbaum. Linderbaum for now making this offensive line, I think, complete, because Ronnie Stanley's an elite player when he's healthy. Patrick McCarry's a solid, very versatile starter. Ben Cleveland, when he's out there, isn't the worst. Tyree Phillips is not bad. Morgan Moses is solid. Juwan James, also solid. Kevin Zeitler's also solid. This is a really good run-blocking offensive line. Tyler Linderbaum will clear Holster, Lamar Jackson, Gus the Bus, Tyson Williams, J.K. Dobbins. You name the whole entire group. This is really good. Oh, yeah, if you didn't know, Bailey Zappi is going to be the backup for the Patriots. But, yeah, I like this pick. It's not great, but it's definitely it's a good pick. Okay, for Tyler Linderbaum, I'm giving it a B. I'll give it a B. Tyler Linderbaum pick, I don't think it's a home run. It's not taking an elite guard at the 31st pick, an absolute steal. But he is a good guard, and this was a little bit of a steal. He's a better pick, and they needed it too. They were able to get their other guys, which is really good for them. They got their playmaker in Kyle Hamilton. I do like this pick. They got two underrated picks, under the radar picks, definitely for these Ravens. Now let's go to the pick that I am absolutely stunned was made. Okay, yep, with the 26th pick, the Jets traded up to select Jermaine Johnson, who is falling rapidly. And if you haven't already realized, this was an absolute steal. The Jets now have Carl Lawson and Jermaine Johnson off the edge with John Franklin Myers also there. And John Franklin Myers, if you didn't know, really solid player. Got Sheldon Rankins, Quentin Williams, C.J. Mosley, Dotson Phillips, and Quincy Williams as well. This dude is a beast. This is a steal. I'm thrilled for them. At one point, I honestly considered him being... He's not the most athletic. He's really athletic, though. He's got a really good first step. His second and third steps could be better. His finesse move is his thing. He's productive, though. He gets to the quarterback. 11.5 sacks. Doesn't matter how he does it. He's really good move. He has really fast moves. He has a number 2 and 3 move as well. This was the biggest deal. At the least, I thought he was going inside the top 15. At the best, maybe top 10. This was an absolute steal. Home run for the Jets in a position they needed. Great. Obviously, I'm giving it an A+. He has the potential to be a top 10 pass rusher in the NFL. He's very consistent as well, though. He's not the most athletic, like I said. That could be a little bit of an issue. But he's also not going to be, there's no limit for how good he can be. Great pick for the Jets. They took him at a really good pick for them. They were able to trade up, make 3 first-round picks. Great draft for the Jets. Great pick for Jermaine Johnson, who's going to a place with other guys that really want to be there. Yeah, I get the Jets' defense was the worst in the NFL last year. They've gotten a lot better. Yeah, it's going to be a little inexperienced to start, but they will be good. Trust me. Oh, now the Jags trade up to take a linebacker who's also falling in Devin Lloyd. Now they have another guy who can play there. So they drafted Travon Walker to be their edge with Josh Allen, dual. Great. Now you have Devon Hamilton also there with Arden Key, who's not good. But now you have Foyce Oluokun and Devin Lloyd in the middle. Great. This honestly works because Travon Walker won't be there. Dwayne Smoot. Their inside is going to literally be run-based. They're going to put they're going to rotate guys in. It's still pretty bad. They need guys that are better. I think they could get guys that are better, really. But still, Devin Lloyd and Foyce Oluokun are really good players. This is really good for the Jags, but now they actually have two good. Now they have a legit linebacking core. This is a young and really youthful group. Yeah, they're banking on Travon Walker putting up numbers, but still. This is a very, 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 promising defensive linebacking core. I'm going to give this an I'm honestly going to give it a P plus because this D line, I don't think their D line is terrible. Let's be honest. They probably should put him on Trevor on the edge. Their D line is going to be absolutely awful. Let's be honest. They're not going to be stopping the run really well. Devin Lloyd's going to be taking a lot of these huge gap holes he's going to have to try to cover up. That's not his cup of tea. Remember that. He is a will linebacker. So, Devin Lloyd, I'll give him a B plus because this was a really good steal for them, but don't be surprised if he struggles. Now let's go to the next pick. Now this pick for the Packers I really do like. Devontae Wyatt, number 28. So, basically, they took a guy who was also falling. But keeping that in mind, it was at a very big position of need. They just didn't get a ton of power against the run. That was the problem. Devontae Wyatt provides a ton of power. He's just really hungry, nasty guy. But you got another guy, Quay Walker, that's his specialty, stopping the run. You got two guys off the edge that are really going to keep contain it. Devontae Quay Walker, and Chris Barnes all picking up the mess. And Dean Lowry, yeah, he's pretty solid too. But you also got a guy like Devontae Wyatt who can come in next to Kenny Clark and really support him, which is what they need with Jahan Reed. This is a really good pick. For the Packers, though, I honestly think this pick, I gotta give it an A. They took Devontae Wyatt here. They knew who it was, and I just don't know how this doesn't work. Yeah, maybe if he does something stupid, but that's about it because they have so many pieces in the right spot. They got a really just solid front seven with depth. They have it all, and Devontae Wyatt just can go in and play his position without worrying about having to do too much at all because he's going to be playing with one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL, which is huge. Now let's go to an interesting pick. With the 29th pick, the Patriots took Cole Strange. Yep, I had this guy. If you didn't know, I did scout him. I had him as the 3rd round pick. He will eventually be an average starter to next gen stats predictions. I don't know how they're wrong per se because Cole Strange will be a starter. Mike Ekwonu will be too. But you got Isaiah Wynn, Trent Brown, not the worst. James Furnitz, you probably don't want to start. Cole Strange is interesting because his run blocking is decent, except he just doesn't really do it that often. It seems like they didn't really run the ball at Chattanooga if you watched them play. There's a lot of screen passes, which didn't really help us watch him. But when pass blocking, he's pretty solid. He got manhandled during some of the drills, though. Cole Strange is an out-of-the-box thinking by Bill Belichick. Let's put it that way. Humor me on this one, okay? So, my grade, if I'm realistic, I'll be honest with you, this is an F pick. This is the worst pick in the 1st round. There you go. Cole Strange, you are strangely picked in the 1st round. In the next 5 years, yeah, he'll probably be an A+. Because it's Bill Belichick. Yeah, again, he does not draft wide receivers. He can't draft a wide receiver for his life. It doesn't mean he can't draft I think this is a terrible pick. But my gut feeling is it's going to be it's going to be an A+. I don't know why. You don't challenge Bill Belichick, put it that way. I still think it's a terrible pick, though. Okay, now George Kalifas went to the Chiefs at number 30. Kind of a steal. They did need a DN. Not a bad pick. This was pretty solid, I guess. They probably could have traded up, though. Frank Clark is a terrible right now. He's absolutely awful. So, George Kalifas is probably going to come in and take his job. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this pick. So for George Kalifas, this is actually kind of hard for me to actually grade him. But honestly, watching him play and working with the Chiefs, I think this will be a good pick. Solid B. I think this was nothing really impressive. Kind of actually probably expected. Good pick. With the second to last pick of the 1st round, Daxton Hill went to the Bengals. Good pick. Not only was it a good pick, though, it was a really good pick because they needed it. You look at it, this was a huge steal. I'll be honest with you. Big steal. And he's got Jesse Bates, and he isn't really forced into it. He probably will play corner, too. But he can play anywhere in the secondary. This dude is going to play a lot of positions. Mike Hilton and Cam Taylor-Britt Whoops. Wait, was he drafted this year? Yeah. He just got drafted. So Cam Taylor-Britt and Daxton Hill will be there. They're rookies. It's going to be an experience with Daxton Hill, but I do think this was a huge steal for a guy who is just a monster in the secondary. He's a cover guy. Zone more, but he can cover really anybody. That's the greatest thing about him. And now the Vikings, the Bengals have someone who can cover literally anybody. I'm not saying like he's gonna be island on island with DeAndre Hopkins every single snap, but he can cover running backs, tight ends, freaking, I don't even know, fullbacks if he has to. Daxton Hill is a really good cover guy. He can play safety. In my opinion, he should play safety, but probably play cornerback. There's you go for the Bengals and A for Daxton Hill. Let's get to the next pick. With the last pick of the first round, the Vikings kind of a little bit of a narrow fleece. They took Lewis Cine with the last pick of the first round, safety out of Georgia. Lewis Cine is really underrated. Him and Harrison Smith, this is a dream scenario for him. Andrew Booth's also going to be starting there too with Cam Dantzler and Harrison Hand, who is not good, will also be there. But I think Lewis Cine is a good safety. Good. He's got Harrison Smith right there, the veteran, the really good player. Like, this just tells you. Harrison Smith, like, that tells you something. But Lewis Cine had 70 tackles, 2 for loss, an interception. He does a lot of stuff. He can play at the line as well. Harrison Smith knows he's got his one-eye safety now. This is a big pick for these Vikings. I like it. So with the last pick of the first round, I'll give this pick a B. So you know how I was really thrilled about it and all that? Like, Lewis Cine is not the best safety in this class. Got to remember that too. And I don't think he'll work out super well. I'll be honest with you. I don't think this was the best team he could have went to. I was thinking maybe, even if he somehow got to the Rams, if like in some crazy way he fell to the Rams, that would have been a perfect scenario. But Lewis Cine, I like the pick a lot. Solid pick. And with that, we finish it. Of course, gave some high picks, some crazy low picks. But either way, that's my 2022 NFL Draft first round pick, whatever rating thing, whatever you want to call it. Great. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you in the next one. And yeah, that's it. We're removing every single pick of the draft next video.